In this video, I'm going to show you how to work with content in the Page Designer. So let's navigate over to our website by clicking on View Your Website on the top left-hand side. And I'm again just going to add an empty template and add an empty block. And now to add content to my page, I'm also simply going to click the Add button, and you'll see here that I have a bunch of different content modules. So you can go through all of these and play around with the ones that you want. You can also use the search bar to find what you want. So if you're looking for an opt-in module, you can simply look for that up in the search bar. So you can go through each of these and look at the settings for all of them. Obviously, it will take me way too long to go through all of the individual settings for all of the individual content modules. So I'm just going to go through a few of the different ones. So let's start basic with a heading. So I've added my heading, and you'll see here that the heading has its own unique settings. I can go ahead and change the text of this sample to say my heading. Well, change the heading to say my heading, not the sample, just I read the word sample out loud. I can change the alignment of this heading. I can go ahead and change the style of this heading, so I can make it a heading 1 instead of a heading 3, or I can make it a heading 5, whatever it is that I'm wanting to do. Let's go ahead and make it a heading 2. I can also add a redirect, so if I want to add a link to this heading, so if people click on that, then they'll be taken somewhere else. I can also go and change the text settings over here. I can change the font, I can change the size, the line, the letter, the weight, all of that can be changed. I can also go ahead and change the color. I can make it bright red, and I can change the style from normal to italic. I can go ahead and transform it to uppercase, or I can capitalize the sentence, whatever it is that I want to do there. I can add decorations like underlines or overlines or a line through it. And I can change the style of that line. I can change the color of that line. There's a lot that I can do there as well. I can also add a shadow to it, and I can go ahead and customize that shadow like I would with anything else that uses a shadow. You can also change the size. So currently the width of it is filling the parent, but I can also make it a fixed width and change how much of the column it is taking up. I'm going to leave that to filling the parent. You can also change the max width over here, so you can make sure that it doesn't exceed a certain width. All right, then we have our spacing, and again, this is margins. We know how margins work, so we can add margin to this content module. We then have animation. So if you want to animate this text into the page, we can fade it in, we can bounce it in, we can zoom it in, we can do all of that. And we can also change whether or not we want it to zoom in or out, or let's have it staying zoomed in though. And you can change the duration of that animation. So if you would like it to take longer, it can take longer. If you would like it to be quicker, it can be quicker. You can choose the delay, so how long you want the animation to wait after someone has popped onto this page or after it's appeared on the page. And then we have our direction, if you want it to come from the center, the right, up, down, whatever direction you're wanting it to come from. And then you can change the trigger, whether it's on screen or by page load. So those are all of the animation settings. And then the space setting is simply whether or not you want it to occupy the space when it's invisible. So if I change that to no, you'll see that nothing is there until that heading pops in. I'm just going to say yes, that it can stay there. All right, then I've got my visibility, and that works the same as everything else. You'll see that for a lot of the content modules, a lot of the settings are going to be pretty similar. So let's go ahead and add another content module, and let's add an image. And you'll see here with my images, I can come here and I can change the image, and let's go for a cat because I love cats and cats make me happy. And why would I not want to see a cat while I'm at work? So I'm going to choose this cat. And now I've got a cute image of a cat on my page. I can keep the size the original size, or I can make it a custom size. If I change it to a custom size, I can go ahead and make it 200 high and 800 wide, and that's my custom size. Or I can keep it the original size, but I can change the width, so I can make it 500, so it's a little bit smaller. Or I can change the height to be 200, and then it's a bit smaller. So this is how you will change the sizing and shape of your picture. So let's come here to the custom size, and let's say we want to make it 500 by 500. And now I've got a nice square image of this adorable little cat. And then I can change the positioning of this image. So I can choose to have it left aligned, I can choose to have it right aligned. Nothing is changing because there isn't much space for this image to move around in, so it's not the end of the world if your image isn't moving, but this is going to help you correctly align your image the way you want it to be. So currently having it center aligned is perfect. We then have our fit, so if you want it to be a cover, it's going to take up the full space that you have set up here. You can also contain it. If it's contained, it's going to be contained within the size that you have set. So it's contained within the 500 by 500 image block rather than taking up the full 500 by 500 image block. You can also change it to fillet, so it's going to stretch it to fill. You can scale it down. You can change the sizing of it. I'm going to keep it as a cover. I think that looks the best, obviously. And then you can add alt text. So this is a very useful thing for you to be using. It not only improves your SEO, but it also helps make your website much more accessible. So you would want to put in your alt text over here. So I can say a very cute cat. And now that alt text is applied to this image. And then you can add a redirect as well. So if you would like this image to redirect your users somewhere else, then you can add that. We then have our style. So you can have square corners, or you can have a round image, or you can simply click on the three dots over here and you can change the radius and give your image some rounded corners. You can also round only specific corners if you want to. So we can have 2 square corners and 2 round corners. You can also add a border to your image. So let's go ahead and add a border. This is all the same as with everything else. You can add a border, you can change the color, the style, all of it. You can add a shadow as well, and you can change the spacing. This works exactly the same, and the animation settings. So all of that is exactly the same as with the headings. Let's go ahead and add some more content. So if I right click and add something else, you'll see that we've got so much to choose from. We've got forms, we've got videos, we've got Instagram feeds, image galleries, progress bars. There's so much that you can add. The best thing to do really is to play around with everything and see what you want to add. Something I touched on previously was our buttons. I didn't really go into too much detail on how to style those buttons, but I did go into detail on how to align those buttons within containers. But if you want to style your button, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to come to your button settings. You're going to change the caption, whether or not you would like it to have an icon. So let's add an icon. I'm sure we'll choose the old Twitter icon. And then we can also add a redirect for this button as well, which you probably want to do considering it's a button. Again, you can change the style of the text. You can change the style of the background. You can give it a border as well. You can also change the corners of your button. So if you want a square button, a round button, or if you just want the button to have rounded corners, then you can do that as well. So all of the button settings are pretty much the same as everything else when it comes to playing with your content. You can also change the size and the minimum width of this button. So if you want to play around with the minimum size that this button can be, then that's where you will set that. I'm going to go ahead and delete that though. So what I suggest you do is go and play around with the different types of content that are available to you. So again, I'm just going to right click. Nope, not move. I don't want to move that. Just going to right click, hit add, and just go through each of the different types of content that you want available on your page. Let's say you want a video. You would come in here and go through each of the settings, see what is available to each unique piece of content. You know how to style your pages, so now you just have to learn how to style the different types of content. The settings are largely the same across the board. So once you know how to manage your sizing and your spacing and the animations and all of that, you can go into the more unique settings. Like for the video here, for example, you've got the video type, whether it's a YouTube video, a Vimeo video, or a Wistia video. Where is that video coming from? What that URL is, what your aspect ratio is. You're going to go through all of these and see what applies to each unique thing. Everything is incredibly intuitive and easy to figure out if you're willing to just play around with it for a little bit. You can't break anything. So have the confidence to play around with it and see what different settings do. So now that we have covered content modules and customizing those content modules, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to work with styles. I'll see you there.